Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to the Good Trouble Show. In addition to politics, UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs, have been a personal interest of mine since I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind as a kid. Congress is now aware that UAPs are not science fiction, but science fact. Early this year, I had an off-the-record conversation with several officials on Capitol Hill. They confirmed that UAPs are real and regularly viewed on space-based platforms such as defense and intelligence satellites. But unfortunately, these high-resolution images cannot be released because these platforms are, of course, highly classified. Nevertheless, they consider UAPs a significant national security issue with tremendous bipartisan agreement. Word is getting out. Check this clip out with Australian journalist Ross Coulthart from 7 News Australia.
When you say the government's been involved in a cover-up, do you think they've been concealing?
Oh, yes.
It's an amazing allegation.
I know it for a fact. I mean, I just know that.
Why do you know that?
Because I've spoken to the people who are about to come out and whistleblow on it.
Wow. So you know what's coming?
Yeah.
So there has been a cover-up?
Yeah. And there's been an active cover-up.
That was Ross interviewing Stanford University professor Dr. Gary Nolan, a leading authority on the subject. So it turns out the Pentagon, mainly the Air Force, has been covering up the existence of UAPs for decades. The Air Force does not want to admit it cannot control our skies. The Air Force also doesn't want anyone, especially Congress, to know that UAPs have been tampering with our nuclear-tipped ICBMs since the early 60s. I actually interviewed 2 former Minutemen nuclear launch control officers for an op-ed I wrote in the debrief on this. I was floored by their stories, and even more floored that they found out literally decades later that dozens, if not hundreds, of other Air Force personnel assigned to these ICBM sites had similar experiences. So, of course, when Congress found out that UAPs have been flying around with impunity in our military training ranges and above our nuclear assets, they were pissed.
I'll just say I've been briefed by people who are in the know. And it's very telling what they're telling me. And I've talked to Navy pilots, have absolutely nothing to gain by telling me information. They showed me photographs of things that were very unusual. And in fact, there's something in our airspace that we do not control, and that ought to be very concerning.
That was Republican Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Burchett and other Republicans and Democrats in Congress are on top of the Pentagon because of what they have been hiding. What else has the Pentagon been hiding from Congress?
The former head of the Pentagon's UFO investigation program, Luis Elizondo, he said publicly that he thinks the US government is in possession of exotic material. Other people have been more candid. Other insiders have suggested that the United States is in possession of craft, non-human technology.
Right.
What do you think?
I think we've got some craft somewhere. I think that I've talked to too many people that have seen and held this so-called foreign material. And I don't think it's a Chinese technology. I don't think it's a Russian technology.
As a matter of fact, part of the 31 pages of the proposed law on UAPs in the 2023 Intelligence Authorization Act requires the General Accounting Office to conduct a historical review of intelligence community activity on UAP dating back to 1947. 1947 is when the Roswell crash occurred. Lawmakers also know these are not Russian or Chinese. They are not of human origin. Just yesterday, The Hill published this op-ed from Marek von Rennenkamp, quote, "Congress implies UFOs have non-human origins." Folks, this is a really big deal. But what's also a really big deal is that only conservative media is covering this, like Tucker Carlson. Mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, ABC News, CBS News, and NBC News, you folks are missing the most important story in the history of humanity, that we are not alone. Now, I know it's a lot to process and a subject we will continue to cover, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode of The Good Trouble Show.